Alright, so this is kind of another video that's going to be off camera. This is just going to be kind of my impressions and critique of Guilty Gear Strive based off what I played from the beta. So this is pretty much what I wrote in the survey that I sent to Arc System Works after playing the beta, and I just want to kind of go through it and reiterate it here. So I'm going to get to what the good things are in Guilty Gear Strive right now. Just like I mentioned in my previous videos where I played Strive and I got to play it at Arc Revo, the visuals are top-notch. This is easily one of Arc System Works' best-looking games to date, probably the best-looking game that they've done. It visually checks every box that I've wanted for a new Guilty Gear game. It manages to improve over Grand Blue, over Dragon Ball, over the original Exert through Rev 2, and all the animations are crisp, they're nice, everything looks good. They've pretty much, I don't know if they could go any further with it. It looks like they've pretty much perfected this method of 3D animation. The soundtrack and the sound effects, the music, the sounds are also top-notch and really damn good. The songs that they have in the game right now, the original songs for Strive that aren't reused from Rev 2, are also amazing. I love Potemkin's theme, Chip's theme, and Faust's theme. Smell of the Game is also a fantastic track as well. So, in these departments, they shine. They show that they are a game company that is made up of mostly artists. They know what they're doing, and visually the game looks and sounds great. There are some issues which I am just going to go through because shit. This is going to be a long one because I did a word count on this, and this thing is at least 1,000 words. Yeah, I typed in 1,000 words for my critiques and what I disliked about Strive. So hopefully this translates well. This is just what I typed at the middle of the night yesterday. So here we go. So for the things that I dislike, I'm going to talk about some of the visuals. Now what I said was that the visuals in Guilty Gear look amazing. And I'm talking about in fights. I'm talking about the characters, the stages, the shading, the lighting, the artwork, the animations, all that looks amazing. But the UI is too minimalist and modern looking for Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear has always been this series with a rough industrial style that has a lack of function. It's that kind of series. The character select and in-game HUD would be great in a game that isn't Guilty Gear. If this was for a completely different fighting game that didn't have the rock metal and gear industrial look of Guilty Gear, then it would work. When I think of heavy metal anime fighting game, I don't think clean modern aesthetics. I think bright colors that pop and show me my life bar, the meter, and a big, loud font for the bursts and other important resources to keep track of. Life bars, meter, round count, risk, and burst indicators are either too small or the colors are pastel or really muted to the point where they just blend into the background of a lot of these stages. And keeping track of them becomes more of a chore than second nature. If you take anything from my opinions Arc System Works, please think about stylizing it more. The change from the Arc Revo build to what we have now is a really good first step. There is some cool looking designs, especially around the round counter and some of the smaller things he added to the meter. The problem is you can't really see any of that because it's either too transparent, lacks a kind of outline or anything to kind of make it pop from the background or what's going on screen. And it really needs to be stylized more. We need to take it a step further and make it more Guilty Gear. When I think the UI in Guilty Gear, I like Rev 2's UI, health bars and meter and whatnot. I like XX, I like Accent Core, Midnight Carnival. I like all those kinds of UIs. That's what I think of when I think Guilty Gear. Same for the character select. I think this industrial metal look that has no use, that does not function like a proper UI should, that just style over function, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Guilty Gear has been about style, and it needs to have that represented in, I think, all facets of the game, not just in the battle, not just during fights and in visuals and in the music. The next issue that I have has to do with mostly in-game mechanics. While I do love some of the combos and how they feel, landing counter hits, while the shake and the zoom and the slowdown is a little too over the top, it feels good when you land hits in this game. But drastically limiting the combo options and gatlings for the sake of simplifying the game, while adding in many more options, is a detriment to the game. It makes Guilty Gear Strive overall more confusing and convoluted than it has, I would say, in Revelator and some of the other previous games. Add on top of that, the massive damage one can do like Soul, or May, or Potemkin, it makes it very beginner unfriendly. While I appreciate big damage in fighting games, I am one who loves seeing big dick damage. This is kind of the opposite end of the extreme, whereas a game like Street Fighter V, even with all your resources, you'll only do maybe 40-50%. You don't get enough damage from that. That's the other extreme. And I think giving us Gatlings, even tinier, smaller Gatlings, 2-3 hit Gatlings, more jump cancelable normals, while toning down damage just a tiny bit, is a change I'd all be for, and probably a lot of other people would too. Guilty Gear has always been this crazy anime air dasher like its brother series BlazBlue. I've been around since Midnight Carnival days, and that was one of the things that I loved about the series. Heavy metal, anime aesthetic, crazy air dash combo stuff. It wasn't just a grounded and simple fighting game. It wasn't trying to be an easier fighting game. It wasn't trying to be Street Fighter with weapons. Guilty Gear was always its own game where features that were bugs, like jump installs, Anji's butterfly trap, that kind of crap, were not just patched out and removed because they may be broken. They ended up being balanced and added to the game to expand on its gameplay. The way Roman canceling works in the game with all the different variations to it now makes it a little bit more confusing than Rev 2's Red Roman cancel, YRC, Purple Roman cancel system. It just doesn't make too much sense to say that you're simplifying the game to get more people into it, to make it more beginner friendly, meanwhile adding a lot of these weird, wonky changes to previously established systems that entail more complication. Like the one thing that people found where you can dash buffer projectiles like Gunflame, RC it and you continue your dash distance, or that other mechanic where you can cancel a like fireball into a DP, that kind of stuff. It's weird to see a system that I thought was fairly simple enough to understand already, and then taking it and making it just really confusing. The damage, the way simple block strings can build up risk really fast, and the tools some characters have make Strive feel like we're always in danger time, a mechanic that I would say a majority of Guilty Gear players did not like in Exurg. So I think in short, tone down combo damage just a little bit, not a lot, but make it so it feels like that with resources, we can do that big damage. Like 60%, maybe 70% combos with 50 meter or something, I don't know. And then without meter, let us do 30%, 40%, however you want to flavor it. Because currently several characters that can do 50% life, they can do it in relatively short combos with no meter. Some even get touch of death combos with meter, and the fact that you can build risk up super fast makes touch of death combos way more frequent. There were a lot of times where I would hit a counter hit at the beginning of the match, carry them to the wall, break the wall, and Chip or some other character had already lost like 70%, 80% life, and I hadn't even used my meter yet. And then there's times where I'm surprised that I died because I wasn't able to focus on my meter, or I wasn't able to focus on my health bar because I'm too busy trying to play the game and I can't see it when it's blending in with the background. And because I got hit a few times, I actually ended up dying a lot quicker than I thought I should, because everything does a crazy amount of damage in this game. Make people work a bit for more damage with longer combos that can go into the air or stay grounded. We don't want a grounded fighting game when there's already a handful of those already. We want a fast-paced anime air dasher, and last, please fix the current overcomplications of the Roman cancel system. I think you can keep the slowdown and all that stuff, but just somehow compact it a little bit, make it more concise. The last thing that I need to talk about, and what I want to talk about, is the lobby and the matchmaking system. I don't feel it's fair to critique the net play, as this isn't the final net code. You did say you were going to do rollback, so that's why I'm not really going to talk about how bad the net code was in this game. There were some instances where you get really good matches, and then there's where you get a majority bad. That's kind of par for the course for delay-based netcode for Arc System Work games at this point, so I'm not really going to focus too much on that. But the lobby system was atrocious. I spent more time waiting for matches to initialize or to even get into lobbies that had people that I could match with than actually getting to play the game. People crowding one another would cause it to fail, leading to never getting matches. Many times I was sent into a server that had me as the only player, or an even number of players who were all playing each other, which meant that I was not going to be able to get any matches. There was no ability to matchmake, which would have helped this network test a lot. This is a network test, Arc System. The different lobby instances made it pretty much impossible to try and play friends as well. This issue is just compounded by the floor rank system. This, like I said, is a network test. Why did we have to get a weird pseudo rank mode where it would kick me out too often for wins and losses, leading me to have to move up and be unable to go to lower floors and play with friends and other people, which means I would have to lose to get ranked down. Many of the times, it would kick me out and then say that I ranked up or had a ranking update, and then it would keep me at the same floor that I was just at. It was confusing, and it seems like this really shouldn't have been what was for the network test. The floor system would be fine as a separate matchmaking area, but for the network test, for a network beta, we should have had a big public open lobbies with no rank system that didn't rank us up or down or send us to different floors or do this and that. We should have been able to queue up with friends if we wanted to, or go into a matchmaking pool that let us get randomly matched with people that were in the similar regions that we're in. You've had at least 3 games now with good lobbies. You've had Fighters, you've had Exerd, you've had BB Tag, and you've had Grand Blue Fantasy. Even the older Blaze Blues, the non-tag Blaze Blue games, have had good lobbies. So while they did have their problems, I never had issues getting games in the Grand Blue Fantasy versus beta. And I hope this is just a placeholder lobby for the real thing, because the visuals look cheap and bad, along with it not functioning most of the time. This was especially bad when seeing big name streamers and popular people trying to match with others and getting crowded by most of the lobby. That just caused tons of initialization issues, and we weren't able to actually match. It would just make them so they weren't able to play. You have a lot of months. You have like, this is going to be releasing late 2020. You have at least 6 months to sort this whole thing out. You have a lot of time to work the bugs out in the system. Please spend more time trying to fix this. You're already doing great by announcing that you were using rollback in the final build, and I hope we get a beta in the future that lets us test your implementation of rollback netcode. In this current age, a good or bad online experience affects the lifespan of a video game. I want to see Guilty Gear succeed and have years of support from the FTC and from you, Arc System Works. Bad netcode, bad lobbies, and bad matchmaking will kill the chance and cut the population down to where only the dedicated elite are left. This has happened to every Arc System Works game as of late because of the poor online experience that the netcode and some of the issues with lobby entail. In the end, that's really it. This 200-word essay I wrote is coming from somebody who's been a dedicated Arc System Works fan for at least 15 years now. I bought Guilty Gear, I've bought Dragon Ball FighterZ, every BlazBlue, Granblue Fantasy Versus, all the games that you guys publish from third parties like Chaos Code and Under Night, and then even some of the weirder stuff like, oh, what was that other game? There was that one game that you guys did, the first 3D fighter that you guys did. I even bought that game, and I've supported it a couple of times because at the end of the day, Arc System Works is a company that has always managed to craft these amazing, beautiful games, and they have some of the most unique combat systems that appeal to me. Guilty Gear has had that. Guilty Gear and BlazBlue have had that anime weapon fighter aesthetic with a crazy, awesome, heavy metal soundtrack that has, you know, just some of the best visuals that I love. And same thing with like Granblue and Dragon Ball FighterZ. These games are some of the best and most unique games that I've played, and I want to see that continue. And I know from the past that Daisuke can still do that. Daisuke can still lay down songs that kick ass after what has it been, two and a half decades of Guilty Gear, something like that. And same with BlazBlue and all that, and I know that they can still pump out games that have amazing visuals. Strive shows that the visuals and the sound have only gotten better over the years, and I want to see that happen with the gameplay and with so many other things. I want to see this continue with Strive, is what I'm trying to say. So, that's pretty much... it's a lot of rambling. I did type this up at midnight, at the middle of the night, trying to put my thoughts onto a survey form, and I thought that this might translate well over to a kind of video that is in impressions and all that for Guilty Gear, for the Strive beta. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about my impressions of it and what I think needs to change. I don't know what any of you guys, if any of you guys down in the comments or any of you guys watching did play the Strive beta, let me know what you thought about it. I do want to hear what a lot of people thought about the game, how it played, how it looks, all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, is just one of many. And I think that I was being the most fair, or I think I'm being pretty fair in my critique of the game, just because for me, I've always valued style and looks and sound over really a lot of the gameplay stuff. But when even with a bad gameplay system, or not a bad gameplay system, but you can tell when something is lacking. Even I could tell that, and like I said, the game visually looks great, sounds great. But I could see that there's issues with the gameplay, and I know that Arc System Works is capable of doing better than that because they've done it in the past. So let me know what you guys think. This has gone on for about 20 minutes or so, so I'm going to end it here. Like the video if you did, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe, comment, share the video, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So hopefully we get another Arc System Works beta, or hopefully we get another Strive beta with the rollback netcode or something, because I want to see how this evolves and if they are potentially going to delay it into next year, because we only have 8 more months left in the year, going to be 7 more months soon, so they really need to do a lot of work to get this to where it needs to be, in my opinion. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Take care. Peace.
Slap! 退屈させやがる。